and welcome to another episode of Space Engineers. I'm Will from Steadfast Gaming, and today we'll be covering the update released on January 22nd, 2015. It adds a new text panel block, an official GPS system, and a way to sort your mods into various categories, something that I desperately needed. I'd also just like to take a moment to explain to those of you who didn't read in the descriptions of some of my other videos as to why my content slowed. I broke my hand in late November, and it's only just now getting back to normal. It took much longer than I thought it would, and I've had to work a lot during this period as well, so I apologize for any delays, but I'm excited to announce that I have a revived version of my beginner's guide mostly done, and a Space Engineer Survival series in the works, the plot of which you may read in a moment. With that out of the way, let's get to what you came here for, Thursday updates. The first thing we'll be covering is the text panel, which can be found under G at the very bottom since it's the latest item added. It acts much like a solar panel in that it's completely flat, and it takes up the block in front of it so you can't place anything there, but it's completely flat. So as you can see, I can rotate it around, place it on the surface however I want it, but you can't stand in it. Once it's placed, you just go up to it, hit T to activate it just like any other panel, but since this is something to write text with, hitting T writes the T every time. Pretty much every time anyway. It seems somewhat random. Like that time it didn't do it. That time it did it. So yeah, I'm sure they'll fix that, but it also doesn't do a word wrap. So once you hit the end of the text box, you have to hit enter every time. That's a little bit annoying. Go over here to the station control, select it, and you of course have to be the owner, so I have to transfer the rights to myself. But then you can have access type settings, and this will allow it to be like a whiteboard where everyone can read and write it. Only your faction can read and write it, or maybe your faction can only read it and only you can write it, and no one else can even read it. So official announcements and such to your factions. I'll probably use mostly for this, or you can get a little bit more creative and do something like this. A little log. I'm going to be doing that pretty regularly. And here we have the smaller version. I think they hold the same amount, but they'll probably be used for this sort of thing. And that brings us to the next part of our update, and that is coordinates. This person here has left us some coordinates for, quote, iron out the ass. So we're probably going to want to go check that out. Let's go ahead and hit K, go to the GPS tab, and you're going to want to go to the lower left and hit New. And this will allow us to create a new custom one. If you hit New from current position, it would immediately input your current coordinates. So I've inputted the coordinates added from our friend, and now we're going to name it Iron and Uranium. And make sure that Show on HUD is selected. This will be how you find it. So you can see in blue text, it popped up here, do a 360 jump, and go on off. And this person marked this for us, and this will stay on our map as long as we want it to. We can say remove from the HUD, uncheck that box, etc., so that it's not taking up room if we don't want it, but otherwise it's there. That brings us to the comms panel. This will allow you to talk just like you always have, or, under the Players section, select each individual player and send them a private message. This is an excellent addition. There's also a faction section on the lower left there, which will allow you to speak to just your faction. And that brings us to the final part of our update video. Let's go ahead and go to the load world, go to edit settings so that we can get to our mods, and as you can see here on the left, we just start off seeing all of our mods. But if we click one, say character, you'll see that there's only one thing there, because I have my other ones added, my 3 outfits. And also the bunk beds is mislabeled, so it's not actually in the character tab. So there are a few issues like that that'll be sorted out soon. But look, I click Skybox and it adds my Skybox to the character tab. This is proven by going in here, and you can see both of them are checked. So if you want to uncheck them and only have one category at a time, you have to uncheck the ones you've clicked before each time manually. So I have my equipment here, and then I add the bunk bed again. It just keeps adding and keeps adding instead of going from type to type. And that brings us to the end of our episode. A lot of great updates this week, as usual. I don't think that there's a game out there with a more dedicated or driven team behind it, and the progress made in this game in my absence continues to impress me. I hope that you enjoyed this short taste of Space Engineers content, and I hope as well that you're looking forward to the content that lies ahead as much as I am. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and most of all, share this video in any way you can. It helps out small channels like myself more than you can know. and until next time, I'll see you around the solar system.